Let's further discuss this now with Abu Eqtaish. He's an accountability program director at Defense for Children International based in Palestine. Thank you so much for being with us on the program. It's good to see you again. Now, the trauma that these children are going to have to come to terms with is unimaginable. Give us some insight into the conditions they have endured, in some cases for months and in other cases for years.
Sure. I believe that every child who passed through this experience will be psychologically affected as a result of the treatment that they passed through when they were arrested and incarcerated in Israeli detention system. All Palestinian children arrested and interrogated by the Israeli authorities exposed to different types of ill treatment and torture. Some of these types depends more on psychological pressure, like placing children in solitary confinement without having any proper interaction with any human being. And even the Israeli interrogators tries during this period to expand the period for calling them for interrogation in order to be left alone in their cells without having any interaction with any human being. And the whole situation inside Israeli prisons, and especially during interrogation, it's designed in a way in order to attack the psychological well-being of Palestinian, whether they are adults or children, pass through this experience. So I believe that everybody who passed through this experience will be psychologically affected, and it varied from one person to another, depending on his age when arrested, the period that he spent inside Israeli prisons, and the types of ill treatment and torture that he exposed to. But in general, everybody will be psychologically affected.
Right. So what's next for them? Because while they try to recover, they still live in fear of being detained again.
I think that's true. That nobody can guarantee that the Israeli authorities will arrest them again and again. As long as we are under occupation, the Israeli authorities can invade any place, any home, anybody. If there is no specific charges against this person, he may be placed under administrative detention order, which is detention without charges and without court proceedings. So I think at this time, especially for children, it's important to be provided with the psychological support from organizations who provide this type of the support in order to be able to reintegrate again in their communities, because they were separated from their communities for varying periods of time. But nobody can guarantee that the Israeli authorities will not arrest anybody who are living in the occupied territories again.
So you mentioned the administrative detention scheme, which means that Israel can technically arrest anyone that they deem as any sort of threat, and they put them into the prisons for 6 months at a time, and if they need be, they renew their sentence for another 6 months. What is it about this scheme that both domestically and internationally they're not able to contest? How are they able to get away with it?
Basically, or administrative detention, it's not absolutely prohibited under international human rights law, but there are guarantees and for the implementation of administrative detention orders. But the way by which Israel is practicing administrative detention orders against Palestinians, this is the problem, and depart so much from the international standards, because the rule that there should be fair trial guarantees, and even in the Israeli military legal system, whether it's for administrative detention orders or for full evidentiary sessions, there's no guarantees in the military court system, because the whole process depends on the confessions extracted by force from Palestinians who appear before the Israeli military court system. So whether it's administrative detention or other types of detention, there is a complete lack of guarantees in the Israeli military legal system. So we regard that the whole system is arbitrary by default. But its arbitrariness is clearer in the case of administrative detention. But
Right.
true that during this period, Israel resort more and more to placing Palestinians under administrative detention orders, among them children.
Okay, and Abu Eqtaish, unfortunately, that's all the time I have left, but it was a pleasure speaking to you. Thank you for your time.